before you start decluttering your homeschool and applying minimalism to your homeschool, it would be great to apply the principles of minimalism to the space in your house where you do homeschooling.
So let's talk a little bit more about minimalism. In Monday's episode, we talked about a couple of things. We talked about determining your priorities, which we've talked a lot about on this podcast at various stages. We did an episode with Zan Tyler quite some time ago. Maybe it was about a year ago. And we talked about creating a vision for your homeschool. And I think that's part of kind of that journey of like figuring out, where do you want to go? You know, where is this journey taking you? So figure out what your vision is, determine what your priorities are for your kids. Your top priority always should be, of course, pointing them to Jesus. There's nothing more important than that. Eliminating clutter, we talked about that. And then we talked about quality over quantity. So let's keep going down this list of principles of minimalism that we can apply to our homeschool.
Yeah, I would say one place to start before you start decluttering your homeschool and applying minimalism to your homeschool, it would be great to apply the principles of minimalism to the space in your house where you do homeschooling. So just eliminating the clutter in those rooms, because it will have just such an immediate effect on your children, on the stress level, the feelings of overwhelm, and just it will increase creativity and attention. And so I thought I would mention that that's a really great place to start. If you want to have the best impact of minimalism on your homeschooling, you start in the spaces in your home that you're doing homeschooling.
Can we park there just for a second?
Sure.
So when you say that, I know some people have a homeschool room, some people don't. We have a room, kind of homeschool room in our house now. But really it's more of kind of our dumping grounds. And we always do school in the living room. Always. We always have. That's just where it happens. We don't even sit at the table. Like we sit on the sofa with our legs propped up. And that's where my girls do math. That's where we do reading. That's where we do almost all of our homeschooling.
Yes.
But I keep our stuff in another room on bookshelves because of that reason, because I feel like if it's all in the same room where we're trying to learn, that the visual clutter around us, and that's really what you're talking about, is just the visual clutter, can seem distracting and overwhelming.
Yes.
So do you homeschool in a specific spot where you keep all of your stuff, or do you keep your stuff kind of separate in a different area, maybe a closet or a different room or something?
So we, like you, we homeschool in our main living area. That's where a lot of it is happening, in our living room, our kitchen, our dining room. Some of my older kids, sometimes they'll go off. We have a couple of desk areas throughout the house where they can go. But each of our kids have a basket where they keep their belongings. I like that it's a basket because when they're not doing it, they can take their things out. But when they're not using it, it looks like a basket. You don't see a bunch of books and workbooks that you feel like, oh, that's work waiting for me in the living room. And so each of them have a basket. And then I have a storage closet with things that we aren't using at the moment. And so I have just those selected items in a different room. They're not in our regular room.
Okay.
And then we have an office where we just have really more like our personal books and an additional quiet space to work for somebody who wants to. But yeah.
Okay. So then really quickly talk to the mom who maybe lives in a really small home, maybe even, like a, 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, and they just don't have any space to put the other stuff away that maybe they're not using. They don't have spaces for baskets, all that stuff, because everyone's living situation is different.
Yep.
How would you encourage that mom to eliminate the clutter that's around them when there's just not a lot of space?
Yeah. So in a way that almost makes it easier, because sometimes the best tool we have in minimalism is a boundary. And so to have a boundary, what my boundary is in our living space is I have a basket, a morning basket. And what fits in that morning basket is what we do together in that space. I don't go off and grab things from other places. And so truly what we really need for homeschooling fits in that basket. Yeah. And I donate things. We have a local homeschooling building, so I'm able to donate things. So what I would say is choose a boundary that fits in your home and choose the very best, most valuable things, put them in that boundary and let the other things go. Yeah.
Yep. Love it. One of the things I discovered quite some time ago is those under the bed boxes. They're kind of flat and they just slide under the bed. And I've got, I think 3 of those in our spare room that just has stuff that I don't want to get rid of because I think I'm going to use it at some point. I probably will, but it's out of sight and it's out of my way. And so I just slide those under that bed and, it doesn't have to be on a bookcase or anything like that. And it's just not visible. And those are a great tool for hiding things.
Yes. Yeah.
Because beds are a good place to hide things, including playing hide and seek with your kids.
Right.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.